Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Shane, if you're new here, and especially if you're new here. This is the 79 F350 that I pulled out of the woods a year ago or so. And, you know, if you're longtime viewers of the channel, thank you for sure. If not, go click subscribe. Come on, this thing's cool. It's like super cool. And I've got a 64 Impala, and there's like a 79 Cordoba and a 42 Studebaker Champion that I'd be messing with all the time. And you guys don't want to miss out on any of that stuff. But if you're longtime viewers of the channel, you're probably wondering, hey, why haven't you touched this truck? Why hasn't there been any videos? I mean, there was a couple shorts where I put a new carburetor on it, new power steering pump on it, and that's actually why she's sitting here, outside of the fact that I cannot get a fuel tank for it to save my life. The rear brake parts that I need are, I don't even know, like what I can find is like ungodly expensive. And the wiring in the truck is an absolute rat's nest, and by rat's nest I mean literally mice have chewed on every wire in this truck. I have fixed enough to have tail lights, headlights, and the engine, and that's it. Like, there's no brake lights, there's no turn signals, there's no dash lights, there's the oil pressure gauge and the temp gauge are the only gauges that work. Like, it's a mess, okay? And I'm working on it, I promise. But what this brings me to today is I want to do a video on bottle feeding carburetors. I enjoy watching a lot of different YouTube channels doing car revivals and stuff like that. This is the stuff that I'm into. This is why I do this stuff, right? Okay. But I see a lot of people struggle ridiculously bad with bottle feeding a carburetor. And I'm going to kind of go over the different methods of doing it and what I see people are doing wrong. And this happens to be a perfect candidate because I put a new carburetor on this truck. I drove it a quarter mile down the road to my buddy's house, farted around for a little while, went around the block and brought it back home. And now if I can get it to start, it's impressive, honestly. I believe the power valve and or potentially both now, okay? The accelerator pump, one of the two, if not both, are bad. And I'm pretty sure it's just absolutely dumping fuel, because even when I shut the fuel and air screws off, it's still literally just sitting here chugging smoke and just absolutely fighting to stay alive. It's not a blown head gasket. It's not blown intake gaskets or anything like that. This thing is absolutely overfueling badly. And when I tried to contact the company that I bought the carburetor from, because, you know, it wasn't tremendously cheap or anything, they just ignored me. Yep, every email, every message, every time I tried to call, I got ignored. So, since the original carburetor that was on it, which I have laying over here, since I had just rebuilt that, if you guys haven't seen that video to see how ridiculously bad that carburetor was and like how bad a shape, like how tough of shape it was in, go check that out. I'll probably try to link it here, whatever. But since that has all new gaskets and power valve and, you know, accelerator pump and everything else in it, I think I'm going to try to steal parts out of the junk carburetor and put into the new one that's not missing a bunch of brackets and screws and bolts and other things, and see if I can't make something work. And in the meantime, I'm going to teach you guys how to bottle feed a carburetor. So without further ado, let's get the hood up on this thing. And I've got to disconnect the boat tank that's on the back of it, and I've got to get it running and warmed up in some amount so that I can try to bottle feed it and see that if running on less fuel makes it run better, then, you know, it's the carburetor. If not, then I don't know what's wrong with this poor 400. Let's get at it though. All right, so opening the hood of this old girl, because, you know, she's got this nice, beautiful body line in it right here, thanks to Mother Nature. She's not super easy to open, and it's got this funky 90s grill. I don't know, you gotta get my knuckles just reach to there, and you gotta get a hold of the thing. And anyway, I've been lubing on the hinges and stuff every time I open it. It's just not always easy to get up. And actually, just to prove to you guys that I have been and do oil the hinges, Got a can of Croil around here somewhere that I want to squirt on it. Looking for Croil, can't find expensive can of Croil. Must be in garage. Let me come right back to you. Alright guys, so can of Croil. This is the $40-50 can. 40 or 50, I don't remember. It's the big boy. Old junk carburetor missing a bunch of parts. We're going to take this Croil here and we're going to just get some on all the moving joints here. Lube the spring up, spring housing, stuff like that. Same thing on this side. Actually, I want to hit those. Got the precision shooting with this thing. I'll tell you what. I want to hit a little bit more on this one. Alright. Don't waste this stuff. It really does not take a lot of this stuff to do what you need to do. And it smells so good. Like, go buy you a can of Croil. It's usually found at Napa. Does that make the hood better? Oh, wow. Okay, actually. Look, it jumps up on its own. See, and I've been hitting those hinges with PB Blaster for like a year. Actually, before I even brought the truck home, because the first time I opened the hood, I thought I was going to rip it off. So anyway, let's get you down in here deep and personal. All right, so brand new Reman, I don't know, Chinese Junkium carburetor. It's got a new distributor in it. It's got a new power steering pump. I don't have a lid for it, but the power steering works now. If you guys watch any of my older videos, steering this thing, scary, okay? I haven't replaced the brake master because it works. It has front brakes just fine. I have the back line pinched off. We did get new belts on, new alternator belt, new power steering belt, all that stuff. Everything's good. It stays full of coolant. It has heat. It doesn't take terribly long to warm up either. There you go, you can see it. And the valve covers leak oil a little bit, but she's still full of oil. I keep 1540 in her. But anyway, I don't have the choke hooked up yet, and I do believe I can run that off of this. I think that's what this wire originally was, so I'm going to set that up in a minute. Well, it might be this one too. I don't know which one it is, but I'm going to cut whichever one has power on keyed ignition. Get it attached to the coil, or the choke here, and that way we'll have a pretty good attempt here at getting this thing to run okay. So I do have to get the little makeshift fuel cell here disconnected. Just pulling that line off. Yeah, I did kind of haphazardly attach the bed just so all of the truck's pieces are in one place instead of scattered all over my property. And this is kind of the way the inside looks currently. It's not great, but it is what it is, okay? And this is a fuel sending unit actually for this truck if I can ever get a tank for it. Come on, camera focus. There you go. So without further ado, let's see. Battery power? Yep, okay. Keys. And let's see if it at least has positive crankulation. Okay, the battery is not dead. So let me go fiddle with some wires under the hood real quick. And I'll bring you back when I get her running and start trying to bottle feed it, okay? Okay, so I did want to bring you along for the ride. This is a PT Torque brand or something like that from O'Reilly. This one's like 40 bucks, I think. But by far my most favorite voltage tester. I recommend you going and buying one of these if you do a lot of wire testing, because while you can get away with the cheapy ones like a lot of people do and like I have for years, this thing has been awesome. So I just got her down 20 volts there, and we're going to, I guess I'll set this here where you can see it potentially, and we'll test across the battery, right? So across the battery, we got positive 11.45 volts. So what we're looking for, you guys see that screen if it's like that? Kind of. Okay. So what we're looking for is we're going to stab this in here, and hopefully, yeah, that gets us a good connection. Actually, we might be able to stab it in here. There we go, it's a little more positive. So what we're looking for is, we know this wire has power on it because it's powering the coil. You know, roughly 6 volts. It's cut down for the coil through the resistive lead and all that. But what we want to know is, does this one have power? 2 or 3 volts? It seems strange. Is this another resistive lead? Yeah, we only got like 4 volts on that. And that could be the wiring with this darn truck too. What about this one? This one got 12 volts? I don't think it does. Ow. Oh, that just broke off, so whatever. It does not have 12 volts. Okay. But what we have here, ooh, look, I'm bleeding. That's how sharp those things are. Oopsie daisies. Anybody want to do a blood sugar test? Jeez. Okay. So what we need is for this wire to have more than 2 volts, 3 volts, 4 volts, 5 volts. It's plugged into that thingy there. What else do we have as an option around here? I really thought there was a choke wire hidden up here somewhere. Alright, Mr. Coil, you gotta be relocated. Please don't fall in the grill. Should be a choke wire. Get that weave out of there. Come on now. This is not your home. Is this connection just crusty maybe? Oh. Nope. Not crusty. Jeez. I'm like gushing blood over here. Look at that. Holy moly. Let's wipe it on some of this poison ivy here. That's good for it. Okay, so we're still going to say that this wire has little to nothing in it, right? I ain't got nothing in it. Okay, so I'm going to make a wire real quick to go from the battery to the choke for now. And because you don't want to pull it through that wire coming off the coil right there, because it'll fry the coil. Ask me how I know. I had to find out the hard way. And that's why I'm here to teach you guys, not to do it the wrong way. So we're going to do it the wrong way and attach it to the battery for now, just to see if it works, I guess. I'll be right back. Okay, more education time. See these? These are butt connector, splice crimps, whatever. If you don't have these, get them. They make all of your crimps literally perfect. Like, you will not pull that wire out of there to save your life, okay? You will not. And if you don't have a bunch of this cheapy stuff that, you know, you can use for crap that's going to be cut off and thrown away anyway, just order it on Amazon. And these are my favorite style of strippers. They work better than anything else, and they don't get all raggedy and wore out where they're, you know, where the handles are floppy and you have to hold them a certain way or whatever. But what we're going to do here is slip up in here onto this connector here for the choke. Now, the ground portion is going to be supplied through the body of the choke, so that's why it's just a 1 wire here. And realistically, when we strip this back and attach it to some battery stuff, it should wind that coil around. And let me figure out how I'm going to do this. Should wind that coil around. And if we now go touch that just to make sure it's got positive connection. We got 12 volts at the choke, which means it should be, and once it runs for a while, it should open the choke up. So, I don't believe I have any gasoline. I have a small amount of brake clean. That should help us get her started. Nope, I do not have a small amount of brake clean. I do, however, have a large amount of brake clean. So let's just get this thing pulling fuel up for now, and then we'll move from there. I'm just going to cross the solenoid because I'm out here. She's going to be very unhappy. Let's get her warmed up. Oh man. Nope. Ah, poor battery. Sorry if this is boring, guys. If you don't think it's boring and you think it's neat, give me a thumbs up and shoot a comment down about what you like about this truck, because I absolutely love this little girl, even though she really likes to fight me for some unknown reason. There we go. Now we got juice. As you can see, and by the smoke back there, this thing is overfueling so bad. I mean, it just smells like raw gasoline right now. So let me get the fuel shut off to it and see if I can't get a bottle with some gasoline set up and try to bottle feed this thing. And I will come right back to you guys and start showing you how to bottle feed these properly. Okay guys, so this is what I normally like to use. This one's got a bigger tip on it because it's what I use for filling carburetors. But it's literally just a gear oil bottle. I thought about using a water bottle to be more relatable to you guys, but come on, like, if you don't have one of these, go spend $8 on some gear oil, dump it out or something, and use it. It's literally just got some 87 or 93, whatever happens to be in my can. And I did just fire this thing off, and just as soon as the carburetor started to run out of gas, it started running perfect. So I think I'm on the right track. Don't pay attention to my missing nuts. I haven't gotten that far yet. And I promise you it ran fine for that for a very long time until this started happening. So that, yes, I know. It's bad, okay? It's bad. The whole truck's a project. But you gotta give me a little time, okay? You gotta give me just a little bit of time, okay? So we're not gonna fill the bowl. I am going to restart my jump pack here though, because this battery is a little low. Not bad for a used battery from you, really, though. All right, jump pack's hot. We're going to give just a little bit of fuel. Look at that. Runs, for the most part, perfect. Let's talk about what you guys just saw there. I hope you could see what I was doing. Give me a second. Okay, guys. So what you just saw there was the engine running perfect, pretty much, on just a dribble of fuel. Now, let's talk about that real quick. Carburetors are a metering device, right? So they meter the air and fuel mixture. What I normally see when I watch these guys trying to bottle feed stuff unsuccessfully is that they're just pouring it in the carburetor. They're like pouring a half a water bottle in at once and then getting mad because it won't stay running. And you saw, I don't know if you saw, and I will do it again from a better angle this time to make sure that, because I was really interested in finding out that I am correct about the power valve or the accelerator pump being bad. So I'm gonna pull that carburetor off and rebuild it with, you know, used parts. And anyway, these things, it only requires just a dribble of fuel that is then atomized and spread across 8 cylinders. If you want to pour it in like that, hold it wide open, let it rev to the moon, because that's exactly what's going to happen. You are giving a boatload of fuel. Could you imagine if a car used, like if you're watching these guys pouring gas in the way that they do, right? Like they're just like straight pouring it in, like a water bottle just guzzling down your throat, right? Could you imagine if cars actually use that much gas at idle? Like what would that equate to? 0.2 miles per gallon? Negative 0.2 maybe? I don't know. It would be a ridiculous number where every car would have to have a 100-gallon tank on it, and you'd only be able to drive for like an hour on it or something. Like that's way too much fuel, and not in a good way. You know, way too much can be perfect sometimes. Don't get me wrong. You seen me do it there at the end. I kind of splooshed it. It was on accident. I was trying to move my hand, and I splooshed the bottle. Oops. Okay, whatever. It'll probably start now, but it's got to be just a dribble of fuel, and it's hard to find because some engines require a little bit more than others. These little 2-barrel doodabs here, they don't require a whole lot, just a steady kind of dribble, and you can let it sit there and idle like that all day long. But if you go start pouring it in, you better have a gigantic engine with a gigantic carburetor, or more than likely the throttle locked wide open, you know, to the moon, up there. Yeah. That's where your rods are going to go. So let me set this back up so you guys can get a good view of my kind of dribble procedure here. And you can do it with a water bottle. Like this thing, like I said, it's got way too big of a tip on it. I cut it too big. That's the tip that's for putting in like my motorcycles and my 4-wheelers. When I have to pull the tank off, I hook that bottle to the fuel line so I can work on the top of the engine, and that bottle will just gravity feed down, and that's what that tip's for. I don't know where my other one is. I don't really care. This one will work exactly fine for what I'm doing with it. So let me get you set up. If you want to do a water bottle, literally take like a needle, like a sewing needle or a safety pin, and just poke like 3 little holes around that little center nipple thing that's in the middle of the like water bottle lid. You know what I'm talking about? Let me get one. Let me get one out of the bus here. We'll talk about it. We'll do a demonstration. So this little nipple in the center there, just do 3 little dots around it. That's all it takes, guys. And you just barely trickle the fuel in there, and you can bottle feed anything: a 4-wheeler, a lawnmower, a motorcycle. Okay, motorcycles with that's a little more difficult. Like my Suzuki, if you guys haven't seen that video, me redoing it, it's got 4 carbs across it, obviously, right? So what I use in that situation is a spray bottle, you know, get the handle on it. You can make it stream or spray, you know, and I put it in, you know, spray mode, and I try to dance across the carburetors as quickly as I can to keep everything even. But different time, different video. Let's get back on this so you guys can see me bottle feed this thing, and then I'll probably rebuild the carburetor off camera because y'all didn't care about that anyway the first time I posted it. And if you like this and you try it and it works for you, give me a like and comment and tell me what do you guys use for bottle feeding? What do you guys use for drip feeding, or whatever you want to call it, whatever you're doing? Comment it down, tell me, because I'm open to new ideas all the time. This works for me, has all my life. We're gonna do it. Okay, let's get this set up. All right, guys, I got you zoomed in. I think you'll be able to see what I'm doing. Let me reset my jump pack again, because I obviously need to charge this battery, or get the truck running so it can charge it itself. See if we can get her started. Oh, you're not happy? There you go. Oh no, is it dead? No, it's not dead. Try it again. I know my lid's leaking. Ah! It's way too much, but that was okay. Okay. God, I gotta get me another one of them jumping carries. This thing's handy, but it's a huge pain in the butt. Come on. Let me get some jumper cables on this thing for you guys. All right, we're gonna get all this gook off the battery here. Still got the choke on. That's fine, I guess. Let's go here and here. And here and there. And now the steel me junction. Come on. Really? Is that like real life? Really gonna do me like this? Okay. Let me angle this way so you guys can see. See that? Now it's just a spritzling. I don't know where to put my hand at. Anyway, this doesn't take a whole lot of fuel, guys. Now, if I fill the bowl, you'll see that it just start dumping fuel. Because the bad power valve, I'm pretty sure, is what it is. See that? It literally just dumped all of that fuel that I put in the bowl. That should have been able to run for a while. So I'm gonna pull this carburetor off, check it out. I'll come back to you guys and hopefully it's fixed, right? All right, so I wanted to update you guys because I popped this cap on the power valve and you guys can see what's wrong there, right? the rubber deteriorated, and it's got the power valve held open. You can even see it wrinkled up right there, and there, and there, and there, if I'll focus right. So we are going to go ahead and change that. I'll show you guys the other one, the new one that's in the other carburetor. Even though this is a new carburetor, it'll probably sat on the shelf for a while, but I'll grab that other power valve so you guys see what it's supposed to look like. Alright guys, so here's that new power valve that I had put in the original carburetor. See how the rubber's not messed up, how it's not stuck open. Looks like a power valve should look. And then that one's stuck down with the rubber all tore. So we're going to go ahead and change that. And then we'll probably look at the accelerator pump too, just to make sure, because I don't know how I feel about it. Okay guys, do I have a treat for you? If any of you guys watch Junkyard Digs, Kevin, he talks about the elusive 2-gasket power valve thing. It just happened to me on this new power valve that I installed and most definitely did not grease. Look at that. It split perfectly in half. That's what he's talking about when he says that people think that there's supposed to be 2 gaskets there. It just split perfectly in half. That's wild. Never seen that happen before. The new one over here, the new carburetor, anyway, that one did not split, but it also didn't have any run time on it where the other one did. See, just one gasket that I'm probably going to tear if I'm not careful. It's already starting to tear. I'm gonna try to clean this up with a razor blade so I can reuse it, but you can see that's no bueno, where this one is bueno. Okay guys, I checked the accelerator pump and the little one-way valve rubber plug thing. The diaphragm looked fine, the plug looked fine. I think it was just power valve. So as long as this fixes our issue and it'll sit here and run right, I did put my transfer slots back to small squares and my mixture screws are back to 2.5 turns out. So as long as this runs right, I will go get those nuts and I will get some 1/4-20 all thread to put my breather on, and this thing will be able to be driven around town at least finally at this point. So let's go find out what happens, okay? I did fill the bowl as well. I need to connect the fuel tank. Connecting fuel tank. Line is slipped on to nipple. There we go. Key on in the crank. She's back to normal. She's always been a little cold-blooded, but she is back to normal. I'm so happy. I'm going to go get those nuts, and we are going to start driving this whole girl around some. I mean, just look how awesome she is. Oh yeah, no more smoke out the back. Oh, might need to readjust the timing a little bit, but because I was really messing with everything trying to get this thing to run that day that it just like stopped up in the middle of the driveway. But seriously guys, comment any advice you got on this thing. I'm always willing to learn. Like it, subscribe if you haven't already. I do a lot of cool stuff like this. My daytime job is slowing down, so I'm about to start doing a lot more of this stuff. Just keep in the loop, hit the little bell, you know, all the good stuff, and I'll see you on the next one.